You're watching Capital City Sunday.
As expected, Republicans on the Finance Committee this week ignored Governor Evers' call for a special meeting. He wanted them to release $125 million set aside in the budget to fight PFAS, as well as $15 million to bolster health care in western Wisconsin.
So, of all days that we should be sending that money out to the people of Wisconsin, it should be today. And Republicans are missing in action on this. So are we angry about that? Am I angry about that? I'll just speak for myself. The answer is yes.
That was the governor earlier this week. Now, we did tell you last week on the program, Evers vetoed Republican-backed PFAS legislation and line-item vetoed a bill to fund solutions to that health care crisis in the Chippewa Valley. Now, the Republican co-chairs of the Finance Committee argued that if Evers was serious about addressing PFAS and supporting health care, he would have signed the bills the Republican-controlled legislature sent him. Reporter J.T. Saskowski has the extended response from Republicans and how the endless wait for state help is harming people whose water is unsafe because of PFAS.
The Wisconsin state capitol has become the backdrop of the fight to clean up Wisconsin's drinking water, as PFAS, a family of chemicals linked to low birth weights, some cancers, and many other health impacts, are being found in drinking water supplies across the state. One of those places is Marinette in the town of Peshtigo. Streams like this one contain so much PFAS that the water forms this chemical foam, and families take these deliveries of bottled water because what comes out of the tap is not safe. Families like Jeff Lamont's.
My wife and I have been on bottled water for over 7 years because we have a private well that's been contaminated.
Lamont and several other Marinette and Peshtigo residents traveled to Madison to pressure lawmakers into releasing money for PFAS cleanup efforts by sharing what their daily life is like when you can't trust the water flowing out of the tap, a reality Cindy Boyle has lived for nearly 8 years.
It's terrifying every single day. It's exhausting, it's stressful. And it shouldn't be something that's on the shoulders of impacted residents like myself and the other people here today. Sorry.
The state has set aside $125 million in funding for PFAS cleanup, but Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Republicans on the Joint Finance Committee disagree on how to spend it. People in Marinette have been waiting on help for years, so long that Jeff Budish decided to install a PFAS filtration system at significant personal expense.
So I can actually live and cook and make coffee and bathe comfortably without worrying about have my grandchildren come over and take a bath in my bathtub.
The governor vetoed a bill passed in the legislature to guide the spending. In this statement, the governor's office says the bill, quote, could have functionally given polluters a free pass from cleaning up their own spills and contamination. The governor referencing a provision that would treat PFAS differently than other pollutants under Wisconsin law. Republicans argue the measure is intended to prevent the Department of Natural Resources from forcing landowners from cleaning up pollution they did not cause. Former Marinette Mayor Doug Oitzinger sides with the governor.
Our communities, Marinette and Peshtigo, the DNR has been the only ones who have come to our aid.
If passed, he predicts the bill would prevent the DNR from holding polluters responsible in other communities that discover PFAS pollution.
It'll all be on the taxpayer, and that's wrong.
Evers called on the Joint Finance Committee to meet and release the funding without the added restriction on the DNR. Committee co-chairs Senator Howard Markline and Representative Mark Bourne sent the governor this letter in response. We are disappointed in your blatant political game playing with the lives of the people of Wisconsin, they say. You are asking a committee of the legislature to rewrite legislation and fund programs that you have vetoed. Amid the dispute, the EPA released new PFAS standards for drinking water. The DNR had previously required a standard of 70 parts per trillion. The new one from the EPA is 4 parts per trillion. Clean Wisconsin, an environmental advocacy organization, estimates that 355,000 Wisconsinites live in communities with PFAS levels above the drinking water standard, like Marinette and Peshtigo.
Stop playing political games and get this needed money to the people in the communities that need it.
While political leaders up here at the state capitol continue to fight, across Wisconsin, hundreds of thousands of Wisconsinites are living with contaminated drinking water. In some cases, relying now for years on deliveries of bottled water to get by, while they wait for the state to come to their aid to help them clean up contaminated wells. For Capital City Sunday, I'm J.T. Saskowski.
Right now, the DNR is evaluating a new federal rule that designates two kinds of forever chemicals as hazardous. They are PFOA and PFOS. The designation gives the EPA greater authority to investigate and clean up sites polluted with them under the federal Superfund law. It also makes it easier for the EPA to force companies to pay for the cleanup. The nonpartisan Wisconsin Policy Forum released a new study this week that shows the state's finances are the strongest on record right now. That includes plenty of reserves and comparatively low debt levels. The study indicates some key contributors include a huge influx of federal pandemic aid, a resilient economy fueling strong growth in tax collections, and actions by state leaders. There were a few areas of concern to monitor, including state transportation debt and the balance of Wisconsin's unemployment insurance. Still ahead on Capital City Sunday, growing concern here at home over tensions in the Middle East, how the continuing conflict is impacting American consumers.